Morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Fertility Women. I cannot actually believe we're on episode 11 or we're already. Like, where has that time gone? But we've got a really exciting show lined up today. We've got two lovely guests that are coming on to talk to us all about endometriosis. We've not really been there before, have we yet, girls?
No. And I'm guilty because it's not something I've experienced. It's not something that I've ever looked into or educated myself on. So even though I've struggled with fertility, this is an aspect of fertility that I don't really know much about. So I'm excited to learn.
Me too. I did a post yesterday about endometriosis because, you know, the sitcom EastEnders.
I saw. Yeah, I saw it.
They're going to cover endometriosis as it's one of their storylines. So I'm interested to watch how that one goes.
But what a positive change that we're now covering fertility subjects on soaps, you know, the biggest soaps. That's amazing. That's really positive step forward for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's about time, to be fair. Yeah. I feel like all this effort that everybody's making individually to break this taboo on infertility, it's finally being heard. So it just goes to show that every little bit that everybody's doing is making such a powerful difference. And that just makes me so happy. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have, well, I've never been diagnosed with endometriosis, but honestly, I swear all my symptoms point to endometriosis. And I've just been told that having scans before, that I don't have endometriosis, but I've also read that you don't get diagnosed like that. So how about we bring on one of the girls and just jump right in and we can talk all about how endometriosis has affected her so far.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm going to add Louise into the stream. Lou, I'm going to try and add you in now. There she is. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Can you hear us all right?
I can hear you, but I'm wondering if there is a delay because when I speak, everyone sort of pauses and goes, talking.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of working now. So, yeah, Lou, just tell us about how your journey, when did endometriosis come into your life?
So I think mine started just after I had Jack. So Jack was 10 in March. And that's when I noticed like my period sort of shifted from, I'd never had like really bad periods. I'd had a bit of like uncomfortable period pain, sort of normal flow. I was quite regular. And then after I'd had Jack, I just realised that they started getting a lot more spotty. My flow was for the first 2 or 3 days. I couldn't just wear a Tampax. I had to wear a Tampax and a pad, and I'd have to change that like before I left the house like a few times, and I'd have to literally go armed with a box of Tampax and pads, and it's still like that now. So for the first 2 or 3 days, my period for the blood side is really, really heavy for 2 or 3 days, really quite stringy and clotty, to the point sometimes you think, surely this isn't natural that I'm losing that much blood. How am I literally still stood up? And then in terms of pain, it's just the most uncomfortable pain. So you'd get pain throughout, the month when you're having sex and things like that. So before your periods even come, I'd get spotting after having sex. I generally just felt uncomfortable for like 2 weeks before my period was due, and I get really bloated to the point that I look pregnant when I'm sort of 2 weeks before my cycle. So they call it, and I always get this wrong, I think, how I say it, but they call it the luteal stage. So the 2 weeks, I think it's where your eggs release and things like that. That's when I literally start suffering. So for 2 weeks of the month, I'm literally like, I've got my period, but I'm not bleeding for 2 weeks of the month, but I'm constantly in pain. Then obviously when my period comes, it's just so uncomfortable. It kind of makes you just feel really icky. Your period makes you feel icky anyway, doesn't it? It's not very nice to have it, the bleed and stuff. But because you're always constantly worrying, like I get out of the car and my dad, can you just check my bum to see if I've like bled or anything? It's just like you're constantly worried that you're just going to get up and flood. And I think for me, the mental side of it, I just noticed after Jack, my mental health started to feel like that was deteriorating around my cycle as well, which I'd never had. We all get the sort of period blues, but this was starting to get really quite bad. So I went into the doctors. It took me so long to even get seen, but since then I've had a couple of laparoscopies. I can't say that word properly.
I love how you say it, a laparoscopy.
And the next step for me, they're trying to get me hysterectomy. So that's been going on for years. And I just don't want to have the hysterectomy.
But what have they said is wrong? What have they said is the reason?
I've got endometriosis, and it can. So what it can do is it can like web to your other organs. So I've got like quite a lot of growth in there, which they removed quite a lot in the last laparoscopy, but there's still stuff in there. And they said to stop that, completely eradicate it, the hysterectomy is the next step.
And so, did you have it before Jack? But it's only now that it's
no, I really don't. All I know is that I never really suffered with anything like that before I had Jack. I had my daughter 16 years ago, and everything was sort of normal after that. But then after Jack, I noticed when things started to get worse.
Did they explain to you that that does happen to women who have had children, that it aggravates it, that it makes it worse?
No, I don't think they even know a lot about it themselves. And that's the feeling I get. Doctors don't. But then I think, I was seeing so many male doctors, and eventually it was when I've seen a female doctor, and she said, this sounds like it could be endometriosis, but she didn't really know a lot about it. And then I got sent off to a specialist. I was quite lucky, actually, because I went, at the time when I was booking my appointment, you could just phone up and it'd give you, say, 5 options for where you wanted to go. And it gave me Nuffield private hospital as an option. I don't know if they were supporting the NHS. And I went there, and the specialist there was quite good. So that's who I'll always be under now. So I've actually got, even though I've not got private healthcare, I've got that for my endometriosis, which is quite nice. But
and Lou, did you, sorry, just a quick one. Did you, when you were obviously getting diagnosed with endometriosis, because I've always been told that when I mentioned it to my fertility clinic, they said, oh, well, we would diagnose it through having to do like keyhole surgery and like biopsy and stuff like that. And I'm like, and they didn't want to do that because they said it can obviously it would delay any further fertility treatment, and ultimately if I've got endometriosis, there's not much really they can do about it anyway, and if it's bearable, then it's just basically leave it.
Yeah, so that's what they say. Like, I think it's like with any of the things like that, like PCOS and endometriosis, they kind of say if you can live with the pain and you can live with the bleeding, then they'll just try and leave it. I know there is a there's a tablet you can take for it. I was never offered it. I can't think off the top of my head what it's called. But
I remember you saying it.
Last resort. And the lady that I know, I mean, she's been through hell and back with hers. She was on that for a couple of years, and she said it worked like a dream, and then eventually it just stopped working. But I think that's like a lot of medication, is it? Like it works for so long, and your body gets used to it, and it stops working.
I'm immune to it, yeah.
But
oh my gosh,
bleeding was awful, and the pain is awful. But I just noticed it's really affecting my moods and stuff. I'd get really anxious, but now I'd get really irritable. But now, since then, I've also been diagnosed with PMDD, which is dysphoric disorder. So that's like serious PMS.
Real bad PMS, isn't it? Like horrendous.
I think they are trying to work out if the two are related, if they're part of the same thing. But then I know girls who've got PMDD who don't have endometriosis.
My God.
What's
so cool is that there's only 4 to 5 weeks in a bloody month. Do you know what I mean? And then you're suffering for almost half of that.
Yeah, that's so bad, Lou. That's so bad. Lou, have you ever had any surgery for your endo?
They've had the keyhole surgery twice. That's why I had the laparoscopy. They've had it removed.
Right, yeah.
That, but there's, you know, obviously what the specialist said is once they're in there and they're trying to remove it, they can't get all of it, and then it just starts growing back. So it's almost like he says it's like a web sort of thing inside your, you know, in your.
Oh God.
Yeah, but my sister's got it. We think my other sister's got it. So I'm the oldest out of 3 girls. But my other sister, I mean, she's had a nightmare, like one of her tubes from it. She's got it like causing her so much pain that I think her next step, she's going to go for the hysterectomy because it's literally growing and fusing all her other organs together.
God.
It's really bad.
So can it be like genetic?
Can it be what, sorry? Did you say genetic?
Like genetic, like passed through. Passed through family, yeah.
My mum had a hysterectomy really early on in life. So after my sister, my mum had a hysterectomy because they found cancer. So they give her a full hysterectomy. So who knows? Like if she did suffer it, we won't ever know because she obviously had me so early on.
Do you know what I'm going to do, Jade, after this is send you a link. You know, James Nicopoulos, he's like the senior doctor at the Lister Fertility Clinic. He answered loads and loads of questions to me on endometriosis. So I've got an article and that's one of the questions. So I'll send it to you and you can
oh yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? Because I have really bad periods, and but you know what? It's really funny. Mine have got like double worse since I had Layla. Like the periods is the first thing, and the moods is what made me first go to the fertility clinic because I was just trying to get pregnant whenever. I thought you just had to like do the dancing all the time. And I didn't even know about this whole fertile window. Honest to God, I was the most uneducated trying to get pregnant person ever. It was just crazy. So yeah, I didn't even know. It was when my periods went real west when I was flying, and Ian was like, oh, you're vile, you need to go to the doctor and see what's going on. And that's where it all started. And that was bad then, but they've got real bad since I've had Layla. And everyone said to me, oh, once you've had IVF, like your reproductive system probably just start working properly, and obviously it did not. But my periods have got worse. So that's maybe the thing is, I don't know. Like, do I need to have one of those laparoscopy things? Is it going to make a difference? Like, this is what I mean. I have to quantify. Is it worth me having it done? You know.
To be fair, I think it really did give me a little bit of ease for a few months. And then that was it. And then it just goes back to normal. So
I mean, it's bearable, but I had to take painkillers this cycle again, and I'm not a painkiller taker really, if I can help it.
But the next step for me is a hysterectomy, and they will take everything away. I have spoken to other ladies who said, oh, you can ask them to leave your ovaries, and you won't have to go into the change. But will take away everything. I just don't want to do that. I'm 40, so I guess that stage of my life might not be that far off, but it's kind of like, I just think that's such a big operation.
Yeah.
If I can try different things. So what I had been doing, even though, so I had I got sterilised 9 months after Jack was born. And so then I've been still taking, pills, and I'd had the coil fitted, and they wanted me to try the implant, but I was like, no, I'm just not going to do anything. I was on antidepressants and I was on the contraceptive pill to try and like lower the bleeding and stuff, but I just all of it. I was like, I've been sterilised, this is ridiculous, and I'm still taking a contraceptive pill. And so now I'm trying all different things. I take things like purple sea moss, I try this thing called shatavari, which are all natural herbal remedies. Yeah. But I can honestly say in the last month, since coming off the contraceptive pill, my period was still heavy. In my body and in my mind, I felt better this month. But again, that's not going to be the right thing for everybody. But for me at the moment, it seems to be working.
Lou, that's so funny. Like, I swear you always read my mind. I was literally just going to say, like, me and Lou are quite into like alternative therapies and stuff like that. I was just going to ask you, have you ever had any crystal healing?
You mean?
Yeah.
Not crystal healing. I mean, I've done my own crystal healing. You know, I love crystals.
Yeah.
But I've gone to a crystal healer.
I'm reading really good stuff related to like fertility remedies and stuff around crystal healing and to do with the blood flow and stuff in the uterus. It's something that I'm really considering. And I meant to text you and ask you, and I thought, wow, what a better place to ask you than right now.
That sounds amazing. But
yeah, apparently some really good ones around our way as well.
Yeah, I follow a lady on Instagram. I wonder if we're following the same woman and that's how you've come across it. But she claims through doing like crystal healing, she's got women pregnant. Not her, but you know, like she's managed to help them to conceive after years of not being able to. So
yeah, but some people find like acupuncture and stuff really beneficial, don't they? So like I had acupuncture with my IVF, and that's obviously like it's an alternative medicine. It's not something that's like recommended like by the NHS to like treat fertility. So yeah, I just thought I would ask you. I tell you what, I can see that in the studio that Diane has been flickering on and off with like her Wi-Fi, and she's there and she's smiling at me. So I'm going to bring her on now to talk about her story as well before we lose her again. Hi.
I was freaking out. I couldn't have kept on cutting off, so I'm running around the house trying to see what's going on, trying the iPad, trying the laptop. But we got here.
I could see you in the corner. I was like, "Where's she gone? Where's she going now?"
I
couldn't
sit down properly on the other seat.
Well, we have you now, and that is what is important. So thank you so much for coming on today. I know that it's just recently that you've decided to start talking about your journey with endometriosis. It's something that you've always really wanted to share, and like now is the right time. So just tell us a little bit about when your journey with endometriosis started.
So mine started when I was living in Dubai. I had just started a new job, and within a week of starting the job, I felt like I had a really bad maybe kidney or urine infection, and I was in a lot of pain. So I remember one of the guys said to me, just the hospital's next door, just run over and see what's going on because you're obviously in pain. So I went over and they said they would scan me. And now keep in mind, girls, this is the first time I'd hardly ever been to the dentist, let alone going to a hospital. So he's scanning me and he's saying, oh yeah, there's something there, but I don't think it's cancer. So I'm like, oh my God, what? So he's like, we're going to have to do, it looks like it could be a cyst. We're going to have to send you for extra scans, blah, blah, blah. So thankfully, one of my best friends in Dubai worked with an amazing gynecologist, and she saw me and scanned me and said, you have a 7-centimeter ovarian cyst. We need to get it out. Now, I had no symptoms of anything apart from I've always had heavy periods and I was tired. But then I thought that's living in the sun and working and, you know, living life.
Hormones, yeah.
So after the surgery, she said, you had a really large cyst, but you also have endometriosis. It was an endometriosis cyst, a chocolate cyst, they call it. So that was kind of it. I was like, okay, I have this thing, fine, get on with it.
What is that? Sorry, just explain. Sorry, I don't know what that is.
It's a chocolate cyst. So it's filled with blood, basically. So it just goes back in kind of every cycle and it builds up into a cyst. So a normal ovarian cyst would just be a normal cyst, whereas that's one of the ways to, obviously you have to have surgery to diagnose endometriosis, but they can see through the scan, because when I just went for my scan, he knew straight away that it was an endometriosis cyst because he could see the blood in there.
But if you had that cyst removed, will that cyst, the exact same cyst, come back, or could they not remove it?
Yeah, for years. They keep coming back. They keep coming back all the time.
Oh,
it's a nightmare. Yeah, so that was fine. My husband and I had just got married, and of course I wanted to start trying straight away, and nothing was happening. Kept going, nothing was happening. So I went back to the gynecologist, and she put me on some medication to waken everything up. Now, it wasn't IUI, it wasn't IVF, it was just I did have to do an injection, and I had to take different tablets at different times of the month. Now, I got pregnant first round, and I was over the moon, as you can imagine. And unfortunately, I miscarried at 6 weeks.
Oh,
so that was soul destroying. So I went on in a way once I kind of had picked myself up, and I did another round, nothing happened, and then I did another round, nothing happened, and then they said you may have PCOS. They did blood tests, and they said it's showing up that you have PCOS. So I'm like, you know, when they're kind of telling you have this, you have that, but what does it all mean? Because it wasn't really explained. So then I decided to come off everything, go on a fitness journey, Jade, a little bit like what you're doing now. I was into my healthy eating and my exercise, and I was feeling great about myself. And I went back and did another blood test, and they said, no, you don't have PCOS. Everything is fine. So that was fine. I was having these infections, like thrush infections.
I bet it wasn't fine though, was it? It probably wasn't. I bet you felt like you were going nuts.
When I look back now, it wasn't fine. I just have learned to live with it. Like I literally just.
But when they told you you'd had it and then didn't, how did that make you feel? Like, what was your response? Because I would have absolutely lost my shit.
Oh, at this stage, all I wanted was to get pregnant. So I didn't. Nothing was. All I wanted was that baby and that positive, and I didn't care about it. Once I was told I wasn't, then it was great because it's more of a chance that I can get pregnant again.
Yeah, I don't care what I've got. Just give me that baby. I don't care.
Just give me the baby. All I want is the baby, you know. So that was fine. We were kind of go on fast forward nearly 2 years later. We were leaving Dubai. So, of course, we had health insurance from my husband's work. So I was like, I'm taking sole advantage of this health insurance. So I went and got another scan done. And they said, yeah, we're going to have to send you for an MRI because there was a cyst, but there was another, what it turns out now is there was another cyst stuck to it. So I went to, now this was the week before we were leaving Dubai, and the consultant said, you're going to have to get this removed because if you don't, it's going to twist and you're going to lose an ovary. So I was like, what do I do? We're leaving in a week. What, like, the surgery isn't going to be for another week. Do I just go back? At this stage now, I had convinced myself that we're going down the route of IVF because we're not getting pregnant naturally. So I'll do that in the UK. So I kind of made the decision, look, while I'm doing that, I can get everything sorted. So we moved back, and I said to my husband, let's just try 1 more month naturally. Now, keeping in mind, I was still having the infections, and they were just giving me antibiotics, and I was having these...
You still had the cysts?
Pardon?
Did you still have the cysts that were stuck together?
Yeah. So came back to London, and I ended up getting pregnant. Lads, naturally, the first month, I just couldn't believe it, like, because everything was against me, because I had the cyst as well. So as things went on, my pregnancy was amazing. Thank God, I have a healthy little boy now, but I ended up going 2 weeks early, and I was admitted back into hospital 4 weeks on my own, without my baby, with a severe infection. So kind of the first day, they were like, yeah, there's this infection. We don't know where it's coming from. We're going to put you on a drip, blah, blah, blah. So on the second day, I said to them, look, I did have this cyst, but they told me throughout the whole scans that it was nothing to be concerned about. As it happened, that cyst was now the size of a baby's head.
Oh my God.
They couldn't operate on me because I had this severe infection. They thought I had sepsis. There were so many things. It was terrifying. They had to then, instead of operating, they had to take me down to the surgery room and drain the cyst while I was awake. Guys, if I could tell you, like, it was the most painful thing I've ever experienced.
Worse than childbirth?
Oh, I would do childbirth 100 times over. I remember coming back to the room, they wheeled me back to the room, and I was screaming in pain. It was so bad.
Wow.
And the consultant said to me, this should never have gone unnoticed. Now, I had found out in the last 2 months that because I had endometriosis, I should have been a high-risk pregnancy. Anyway, fast forward on to the last few years after I had my son, I was about 7 months in. I started having, like my periods normally would be about 10 days, 10, 11 days. But this was going on for a lot longer. So luckily enough, we went to a private gynecologist who did a biopsy. Now, I had said to him, I have this thing called endometriosis. So he did an endometrial biopsy and a scan. Again, the scan showed that there were still more cysts there. And he told me, wait for this, the diagnosis is you need to lose a significant amount of weight because the biopsy came back here. Mm-hmm. So that will get your periods regular again. So
how much weight was he saying you had to lose?
Oh, like 1.5 stone, 2 stone maybe. Like it wasn't an obese amount of weight. Say like a size, I was probably between a 14 and a 16 then.
Yeah.
So it wasn't massive, like I wasn't huge.
Yes.
And I had just had a baby. Come on. You know?
So he said that if you lost that weight, that would regulate your periods and everything would be fine.
My periods. Yeah.
Yeah, I was told that.
Yeah.
My God.
So they kind of
Joseph, kill me. My God. Sorry.
It just infuriates me.
This is why I want to tell my story, girls. I want to scream it so that nobody ever will have to go through what I went through.
I want you to scream it. This is nuts.
Nuts. So then going on over the last few years, I had been to the doctor, lads, I can't tell you, probably every week reading about thrush infections, bacterial vaginosis infections, urine infections, like constipation, IBS, you name it, I was ringing them. And every time I rang her, she was just saying, yeah, it's your anxiety. It's because you're a hypochondriac. It's your anxiety. Everything was always coming back to it's your anxiety because the tests are all coming back normal.
I'm having to bite my tongue right now.
Yeah. So then there was a Friday evening and I had noticed over the previous months around my ovulation that I was spotting. So of course I went on Google because Google was telling me everything. We went on Google and Google said, oh, it can be quite normal to be spotting around your ovulation. So then I this was about maybe 4 months into it. And I said, I better ring them just in case. And I think, Jade, you might have put something on your page that made me think, I better just go and check this out. Don't know what it was. Maybe it was you did your smear, if that was a couple of months ago. Anyway, so
maybe
I rang the doctor. It wasn't my doctor, it was a different doctor. And he was like, yeah, look, I mean, you've had all the tests, you've had the biopsies and the scan, everything's fine. Give it another month and see how you get on. I got off the phone and I cried and I was like, why isn't anybody listening to me? Like, I just felt so alone. And keep in mind, my anxiety now at this stage was just...
Oh no, where's she gone? Oh, cliffhanger.
Where's
she gone? Get her back.
I know. Where is she? She will be back. I know she will with a vengeance. Oh, hang on. She's trying to connect. I think it must be her internet. I'm furious though. Does anyone else? I get this rage at the minute when I keep, and it's not even just this related. It's anything where we're constantly patronised and told that you're being a hypochondriac if you're not singing from the hymn sheet and the textbook in which these professionals are taught, and it's starting to really. I'm trying to think of a word that isn't swearing.
It gets worse. You're going to be like a lunatic when I tell you what I'm about to tell you.
Fab, bring it on.
After that phone call, I said, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ring the endometriosis helpline. And I spoke to an
I
amazing
didn't even know
girl.
there was an endometriosis
Oh my
helpline.
God,
Didn't even know
lads,
that.
if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Wow.
Spoke to this amazing girl called Brittany, and I told her everything, and she said, Diane, everything you're saying is endometriosis. These are all the symptoms that you get with endometriosis. The IBS, the painful sex, the lower back pain, like the pain of, think of a hot knife in the oven stabbing you in the vagina.
Oh.
That's what
in the where?
Huh?
In the vagina, did you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
The vagina, Jade. Vagina.
In the vagina.
Vagina.
Oh my
The
God.
fudge.
The badge. Layla started calling hers her vagina now. Sorry to take you out your story, but like we've always called her private parts her privates, because you can't teach a child not to call their private parts of their body something like a nickname, because that can make them prone to abuse. Not prone to abuse, but it all ties in anyway. So I've always called them her privates. I just couldn't tell my 1-year-old that it was her vagina, and now she goes, "Daddy, I'm going for a week. Come wipe my china."
Oh.
I'm like, it's a vagina. It's my fee china. I'm like, not quite, Layla, but we're getting there. Sorry. Anyway, so the hot knife is stabbing you in your china. Carry on.
Yes, so she's saying, yeah, these are all symptoms of endometriosis. So that was fine. Oh, I'm breaking up again, I think.
No, we can hear you.
Oh, good.
Don't leave us like this, Diane.
No, that's what I was thinking. I'm going to leave everybody hanging now.
We're still with you, Diane.
Okay. It's just delaying. I don't know what is.
Oh my God. God damn the Wi-Fi.
How could she leave us there? Hot knife in the vagina and then just gone like that.
She just mic dropped, didn't she? Like,
yeah.
About them talking about weight loss. After I had Jack, I lost 5.5 stone.
Oh my God.
Make a bit of difference. It did make a bit of difference. And that's what they said to me. Like, if you lose weight, it will regulate your periods. Cool.
But is there any wonder that the trying to conceive community and the fertility community has such a feeling of loneliness and that nobody listens and self-blame when the professionals are doing that to us? You know, when you're having professionals say, it's your fault, you need to lose weight, or, you know, what you're saying isn't what the textbooks say, so we'll just leave you. You must be making it up. It's all in your head. Like, it's no wonder we feel way when this is what we're being told.
Absolutely. And when they're telling you it's your anxiety, it's your...
oh my God.
There's money pumped into health. And I think when we've got men running the country, this is just my personal view. Probably get kicked off air in a minute.
Here she comes.
Is there any surprise that there's not a lot of money pumped into women's health? And they don't know what we experience. I mean, look at all the things I listen to when you girls are talking, and like some of the stuff we've learned from Diane today. It's like, how are we still being ignored? Like, it's just it's so devastating. It's so sad.
But hopefully I don't break up this time, because I want to tell you this part. So I went and I got on to my gynecologist who did the surgery in Dubai, and because I know her personally, I texted her and I said, can you remember when you did my surgery? Like, what was it? And she said, you had terrible endometriosis, stage 3. Your tubes were all full of adhesions. So she cleared all of that out. So then I was like, okay, this is in my head. I actually had this thing called endometriosis, and this is what my symptoms are. So
oh my God, Diane. The Wi-Fi in Ireland must be shite today, girls. It's been really, really bad. Oh my God. Like, hang on, she's back again. She's back again. Is it your Wi-Fi?
no.
Oh.
I've tried it on loads of different tablets, and it's still not working. And I'm right beside it. It's so annoying.
That's okay. We've got you for a minute. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
Go.
So she said, yeah, you had all that. So I got onto the hospital where I did the surgery and I got my notes. Rang my GP and I said to her, look, I have forwarded over my notes now to show that I have this thing called endometriosis. And my friend was with me and I had her on speakerphone and she's like, she actually said, now that we've got your notes, we will start taking it serious. So I said to her, so you're telling me
they weren't taking you serious before that then?
Because she thought I was a hypochondriac and it was all in my head.
That's so bad.
Why so bad? And then to make it worse, she sent me a referral letter. And on the referral letter, she even wrote that all wrong and said apparently I had a laparoscopy in Dubai in 2020. I was like, you can't even get the letter right. So frustrating. So then I thankfully we have insurance. So I met this amazing gynecologist who explained.
I think she's pranking us, girls. I think it's a prank. I think she's just pranking. Okay. She's backstage in the studio laughing her head off at us. Gotcha.
I agree. I totally agree. But I'm absolutely blown away by the fact that they're not taking her seriously. That is enough. Like,
but by all accounts, what she's saying is, had she not have got those notes, they still would not be taking her seriously. It's her body. Why do people?
What right do they have not to take her seriously?
But why do people think we make it up? What? We're not going to take you seriously because it's in your head. Yeah, because I thrive on making shit up. Why? Like, I've not got anything better to do than self-diagnosis. Like, why would we do that?
Yeah.
See, I mean, anyone who's like suffering anxiety, if you start going to them and say, look, these are my symptoms, they're going to just dismiss you as a hypochondriac. So don't tell them you suffer with anxiety.
That's really bad though, isn't it? Because this is where the mental health links in, and this is probably what cooks the voice. Because if I turned up at the hospital and I had, God forbid, cancer, and I rocked up and said I've got these symptoms of cancer, they wouldn't go, we haven't got that because of X, Y, and Z. Do you know what I mean? Because I've got the symptoms, but because she's suffering with anxiety due to this, they're actually just like homing in on it and making it so much worse. And there's a massive flaw in our systems across like I don't really want to like pin it just on the NHS, but across like medically across the whole of our country. It is really like
this isn't related to fertility, but 6 years ago, right, I had a big, massive, serious tumor in my chest. Right, massive tumor in my chest, and when I went to see the doctor said to me, just rub some Nurofen gel on your chest. That should sort your.
Wow.
And I said, something is wrong. There is something wrong, right? I can't live like this. And eventually, I had a chest X-ray and a scan, and they found out that I had a life-threatening tumor that had not been removed. I wouldn't be here today.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So Nurofen gel. They told me Nurofen gel.
You know, so poor.
Well, yeah. You just have to really, and I pushed it and I said, no. This is, I know something is wrong. I know something.
There's nothing like your own instinct, though, is there? There's nothing like your own instinct. And again, like a maternal instinct, there's just nothing quite like it. Diane is back. I'm not sure how long for. Hey, girl. I don't know what's going on, darling. I have not got a clue. I really want to know.
I'm so frustrated. I don't know what is going on.
But do you know what, though? Even though she's frustrated, she's given us a really, really, really good tip here. The fact that she dialed Endometriosis UK helpline.
Yeah.
This is what I want to ask about.
I didn't even know about that myself.
No, this is what I want to talk about. I mean, I think maybe I'm going to give them a call and maybe we could get someone to come on and talk to us from Endometriosis Hotline.
Yeah.
Because why do we not know about this?
Yeah. I'm going to find that number today and post it.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's absolutely mental. Like, I'm just blown away that we don't know about this more before now. I mean, I've learned so much today. just from speaking to you and Diane, I just feel like I don't know. There was so much I didn't know, and I think it's really important for anyone that's watching to know that if you do think that there is something wrong, that you definitely need to keep pushing, because there's nothing quite like your own instinct either. And yeah, it's just craziness.
It's just really sad that we're having to fight so hard to be heard about our own bodies.
Yeah,
it's just a really sad thing.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you. For anyone who's watching, I have this little baby. I'm so excited.
Love the colour.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I love it. The whole book. It's loads thicker than I thought it was as well. Where's the camera? There.
I remember when we first got it, when we got the first print to like check for the finalization and stuff, and we got it, and obviously I was super excited, and my husband was like, it's a real book, and I was like, what did you think it was going to be? I don't understand what you were expecting, babe. I was like, well, it's an actual book. It's a real life book. And I was like, yeah.
That's what I did.
You are amazing, Judy.
Oh, thank you.
We've got some competition winners that are waiting for these to be sent out, so I am going to be getting them posted to you this week, along with the Fertility Women mugs and some pineapple pins, which is so exciting. Diane is back with us. Diane, I just want to thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Sorry,
you've
girls.
literally, don't apologise. You've given us, in the 1,075 times that you've joined and dropped out of the stream today, you've given us so much knowledge in that time. And Lou, so with you, I just feel so grateful that you've come on. And I feel like for anyone that's watching, that's going through the struggle, and quite literally, I reckon one word that you've both said that sums up endometriosis is probably frustration. And if anything, I think there's just a safety in numbers, and it is a comfort knowing that you're not the only person that feels frustrated on that journey with endometriosis. So thank you both so much for coming on. I'm going to let you both go. Don't apologize at all. We're so grateful. Thank you so much for coming on, guys.
Thank you. Hey, do you know what I've just realized? So Diane it was the first time she was on our show today, and she's actually technically appeared on the show more times than we have.
She's just had a little Fertility Women takeover today, isn't she?
Amazing woman. Well, both amazing women.
Yeah.
I still feel like there is so much that needs advocating from an endometriosis perspective as well. I mean, I don't watch EastEnders. I just don't love that. I mean, I've never known such a small piece of land suffer so much drama. It's just all quite exhausting, isn't it? So I'm really interested in finding out how it's covered, though, because it certainly sounds like choppy waters. But just as always, if there's anything anyone wants to see on the show, please do reach out and let us know. I'm going to start putting some more like Q&As up and stuff, so we can just make sure that we're bringing the right stuff. I've got the most amazing embryologist coming on soon, and I found her account on Instagram, and she's just a breath of fresh air. I'm so excited because she talks about these embryos like they're her babies. And the first post that I stumbled across, I cried when I read it, because she was like we help you make your little babies, and then we keep them for you. And I feel like a paternal love towards these little embryos. And she's also needing fertility treatment herself. She's just a beautiful human, and I'm so excited to get her on in the next couple of weeks. So oh no, definitely. We've got some exciting stuff coming up next. Is it next week? I'm just going to check, because Layla had me up all night last night with an ear infection. So I just don't want to give out the wrong information. Let me just double check, because it's really exciting. And I know you girls are going to absolutely love this. And I just felt like it was worth covering while we were still live for anyone watching, because I know everyone loved when we talked to Kirsten from Straight Up Infertility. We have got on the 22nd, the 22nd, we've got Kirsty coming on with her surrogate, Leah.
Oh
my my God.
I'm so excited because then I know like Kirsten spoke to us all about like her fertility journey and how she ended up having to have a surrogate after like 5 million rounds of IVF. But I just think it's amazing that we're going to have like a surrogate come on with them. I feel like that's just going to be so special.
Yeah, amazing.
I know, I'm so excited. So I just feel like that's a really nice way to wrap up the show today. Is there anything anyone else has got to say?
Only that I've learned a lot today, and I must download this and put this on my page as well, because I think just hearing other people's stories is so powerful, isn't it?
So powerful. I feel like it's a minefield still in my head though, because I just feel like where would you even go to get anybody to listen to you? That's the overwhelming part, is that you think, oh my God, for someone just starting out on this journey, they must be feeling a bit like, oh my God, like just even to get that diagnosis is a bit of a nightmare. But I do definitely feel like in the UK we need to be diagnosing and putting more into diagnosing people that are struggling to fall pregnant, rather than just going, here's a round of IVF, we don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, ladies, thank you so much. It's been beautiful as always. And as I say, if you are watching now, do not forget to join us next week at 11, because Kirsten and her surrogate Leah are going to be coming on and talking all about how they made this beautiful baby. So I look forward to catching up with you all and speaking to you then. Bye.